the static in the air. Next and rising, we don't care about the fear clinging there. Step in line, hear the beat drop. Body, mind, so we don't stop. We won't stop. Train it up, train it high. Next you're reaching for the sky. Push the limit, don't ask why. This is how we're born to fly. Watch to the future, neon glow. Through the fire we will grow. Every move a deadly flow. Next and rising, let it show. Eyes ahead, the rhythm calls. Stand up tall, we break the walls. Train it up, train it high. Next you're reaching for the sky. Push the limit, don't ask why. This is how we're born to fly.
What's up, brother Benny? You're on mute, brother.
Sec.
Yeah, man. What's up, man? There you go. We got two cameras working. Think you got to
Got the
pick
two.
your sound.
Okay, I'm trying to pick it now. Got my
Sound is
airwave
good.
on. Sound is good?
Sound is good. I guess you
All
got
right.
another camera. You don't need no sound on the. You had two cameras, or you just changed it.
Correct. So I muted sound on one, so I'm not getting any audio on my main on this view. There it
Yeah,
is.
there you go. You good.
So this view, I got no sound on. It's just the front facing, it's just the visual. My sound should be coming from here because this is going to track a lot of my movements and whatnot. So as long as you can hear me here and I can hear you, I'm hearing you fine through my earbuds. This is just going to be another view, so I think we should be fine. All right, all good? Awesome, awesome. Well, again, thank you everybody for joining us on this sort of special edition of Next in Training, where we're actually going to talk about a little physical training. I know last week, shout out to Mandrell being in the house today. He should be on this show. He's the trainer. He's
Yes,
the
sir.
former boxer, former Green Beret, former everything. So he should be on this as well. And I know he's going to be trolling me. The fact that he's here, you know he's going to be trolling me tonight. You know he's going to be checking my form and everything, and he's just going to be making sure I do things correctly. But I'm here just to basically share a little bit of information tonight. But before we get into that, as we always do, we're checking in on your pies. How are your pies doing? For this evening, pies meaning your physical, your intellectual, your emotional, and your spiritual. How are you doing in these areas of your life? And so, as always, we like to start out with sort of a checkup, if you will. So, Coach, how are things been going with you? And how are your pies?
Oh man, shoot, that's interesting this week, man. And I guess the last 2 weeks, man. Physically, it is what it is. I got been getting some numbing in my right arm. Damn, my right arm had to go get that checked out, which I do have to go to the doctor next week, so I get him to figure out what's going on. Intellectually, I'm just just thinking about things going forward, man. Since we've been doing these shows, I started been me and my wife been having the conversations and putting our little list together in case we need to enforce some things that we talked about. Just make sure that's going okay. Emotionally, I'm excited just because like I said, I've been trying to get a coaching position, and I was hired for one on the middle school level, but I have an interview Tuesday at a local high school over in Kentucky, which I coached there before in '03. I coached football.
Right.
So I have an interview with them Wednesday. I'm excited about that. And then, spiritually, man, I'm just connected to, my family, I'm connected to this space, man. So I'm in with that.
I heard that. I heard that. Yeah, my pies are going pretty good here physically. I'm feeling pretty good. Shoulder's been a little sore as of late, so I've been getting again. I got that last Sunday. I got that deep tissue massage to get the shoulders worked on, get my lower back worked on, and just to make sure that I'm whole in that sense. But otherwise, feeling pretty good. I already got my, again, just not to be controversial, but I believe in vaccinations. So I got my vaccinations for the flu, for any disease or whatnot. So I'm ready for the winter, and just overall, just feeling pretty good. Shoulders a little short from the shots, but feeling pretty good. Intellectual, it's always a challenge, and it's really my intellectual capacity has been challenged recently, simply because my daughters, because obviously they are matriculating through one in med school, one is with the new job, and she's not quite confident in herself. It's like it's the next level here. I mean, like you think you might be the thing coming out of college or coming out of high school, and then you realize that the competition is definitely leveled up, and that you have to then start doing things and being more intentional about things. Like it's not just so there's levels to this, and so she's learning that. She got a little bit humbled, certainly over this weekend training. She's in Chicago and she'll be coming back soon. So yeah, so just a lot of the my intellectual capacity, just based on my knowledge, my wisdom, my experience, I've been sharing firsthand with those who have been closest to me, and certainly so that's certainly been a blessing. And emotionally, like I said, I've had to be in a very stable state. I've got a lot of estrogen in this house, so you got to be on top of things when you're dealing with the family in that manner. And so you want to make sure you're good there. And then spiritually, I lean on my faith hard, especially in these times, and praying for again for them, and just being the man that I need to be for my family and whatnot, and living uprightly and cleanly, because it's important. It's more important now than ever, certainly in these times. So otherwise, again, life is good, and feeling pretty good, and so we're gonna move on with the show. But certainly for those in the chat, how your pause? I see Catelia in the building tonight. She must have saw the banner ahead of time. She saw the sort of things that we were going to be doing tonight, and so she's here in the building, and so she's going to be, So again, appreciate it. So I got two people here. I got Catelia here. I got Mandrell here. So again, I feel like I feel like I'm part of before a review board, and so they're going to be scrutinizing everything I say and everything I do and whatnot. They're going to be sitting there, their constructive criticism in the back, and so they're going to be really critiquing what I'm doing tonight. But one of the purposes that we want to do tonight was, again, I'll be doing a lot of the leading, but Coach, feel free at any time to step in and say anything, or add, certainly from your experience. I know you've done a lot of, body weight work and, calisthenics and things like that, just based on your military background. So I know, you're up on a lot of this. And basically, speaking to the other cams, you want me to speak? You want me to speak into this cam? Is that what you want me to do? Okay, so I'm gonna speak. I'm gonna speak into this cam right here. Okay. So basically, the last week we talked about how do you choose a gym. Certainly if you have the fortune certainly to join a gym, what are some things to look for based on your goals, based on where it is, location, and just there's various things you want to look at: fees, membership fees, cost of training, things like that. But what if you're in a situation where you can't get to a gym? So as a lot of you guys know, over the last few weeks, I did some travel, and so I found myself in a hotel room more times than not. And even though the hotel did have training spaces, I didn't think it was conducive not only to what I wanted to do, but also just the audience. Now, again, I move very conservatively in certain spaces. If I go to it, like the gym area is very small, and there's other guests, other members of the opposite sex who use the facility. And more times than not, I won't put myself in that situation. I'd rather stay in my hotel room and get a workout or do some things there. So what if you don't have access to a gym? What are some things that you can do right in your house that will allow you to get a workout in, uh, especially using things around the house that you already have. So again, this isn't for Mandrella could tell you this isn't for the bodybuilder. Okay, this isn't for the person who is certainly has access to the top equipment and whatnot. This is just for people who just want to be in a position. Again, we had a pandemic a few years ago, and I actually did a series of videos where I was talking about how what people could do while indoors, using things around the house to get a workout in. That even though the gyms were closed, that there was certainly no reason why you couldn't get a workout in. So what I decided to do was just kind of go around the house and just pick a few things that I had. And so I'm going to just kind of demonstrate some of the things that you can do just with some equipment that you have, or things that you have, ordinary items that you have in my house, that you have in your house. And what I was trying to do is I was trying to share some pictures. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to share on this screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this camera and move it closer to my computer. So you guys still keep the audio going, but I'm just going to go here and just share what I uh, what I wanted to start out with. So I'm going to go and try to share my screen. So where did I get my gym equipment from? Various sources. I've gotten equipment from Craigslist. I've gotten stuff from eBay. I bought personal equipment. My main fitness equipment is from PowerTech Fitness, where I got their multi gym. And I bought my first one back in 2001, and I used it for almost 20 years. I sold my old model to a client that I currently train today, and so he uses that. When I got the 2020 model again during the pandemic, I felt like I wanted to do some upgrades. So I upgraded to the new unit. He has my old one. I trained him on the old unit still. So PowerTech has certainly been a good brand. Certainly gives you a lot of bang for your buck. It's a plate loaded system, very similar to like hammer strength equipment, if you're familiar with that. And so I started using, so that's like my core, and then I just built pieces around it based on specific things that I want to focus on. But even more importantly, when I started training clients, I wanted to be in a position where I could move from equipment to equipment in a relatively short period of time. So usually what I'll do is, even for my personal workouts, I'll set up my stations first with the settings of everything that I need, and then I just go through my workout. So from station to station very quickly. And so those are things that I use to use. But I've used all kinds of. I've had things custom made. I've made my own cable pulley systems, which is right over there. I have my own cable pulleys that I made during the pandemic. I've had welders. Last thing I had, big thing I had done was I had a welder build me a squat rack. And so he did the basic framing. I didn't painted it and put a little sizzle on it. So again, I get from different sources, but I don't myself, just for budgetary reasons. A lot of this equipment can get into the tens of thousands of dollars, and I just never thought that that you needed all that to get a decent workout in. And so again, finding bargains where you can. I've taken plates, may have a little rust on them. I'll go and I'll sand them down and I'll repaint them. And so I've had plates, have gold colored plates. I got bronze colored plates. I got silver colored plates. I got black and yellow for the Steelers. I got black and yellow colored plates. So it's just so just a pastime of mine, just kind of refurbishing stuff. Because the one thing with nice thing about plates, they don't go, they may rust, but the weight is still the weight. So I've used that over time. But thank you for asking the question. But I just wanted to show I'm not using any of that today. So I'm not even going into my main gym is down here. I'm not going into that area at all. We're going to stay basically right here. This is like my basement area, but imagine this is your apartment or your living room, and you got a sofa in the back, you got a chair, and we're just going to use some basic items that you can use to get some work in, especially if you're a beginner. Now, again, what I've always recommended, and I don't know if you concur, Coach, when to train, what age to train. Since again, this will be for young people as well. Generally, when it comes to strength training, calisthenics, you can start, I think, pretty early. But once you start getting into strength training using weights, usually I suggest maybe about 13, 14 years old. Now, again, that's not a blanket. I know some people get started 11, 12 years old. Some people get started a little bit later. But generally speaking, the recommendation that's always been taught to me is about 13, 14 is when you kind of get into that. Most of before then, calisthenics and body weight is usually enough in that regard. But coach, have you heard something similar to that, or did you get advice something else? So when did you start lifting? When the first time you lifted weights?
Well, just based off the age and the fact that we're similar in age, right? I got my first weight bench the Christmas of going into my 14th birthday, and that sort of just snowballed from there. So about Christmas going into 13, 14, I've always recommended it, even for my son when he got about, I guess the strength for me being a father in a sense, I could do push-ups and randomly, and I would always encourage him to get down with me at a young age. And, I guess by the time he was probably 14, he could probably do about 50, 60 push-ups in a row. But once I got my weight bench at 14 when I was a kid, that just snowballed from there. Of course, playing football was always a big thing to, work out, do a complete workout regimen, bench press, some lifts, some lunges, and some inclines, all of those good things, some dips, the neck machine. I remember the old school neck machine. But just even to what you said, getting weightlifting equipment, you can probably go to a Salvation Army or a Goodwill store, and you could probably get lucky with a weight set. May not be a complete gym set, but some good pieces that could snowball your, get you started for a good workout regimen. Some that won't take up too much room, some dumbbells, things like that. And you can always refurbish it, and I think as far as what you've been able to do, like you said, finding old plates. If you really want to keep that chrome look, you can just, I think, dip it in some iodine. What is that? You dip it in some acid. It's a acid that you can use.
Yeah.
And, but if not, you can just clean it, get you some rust-proof paint and just paint right over it, and let it dry, maybe do a few coats to give it a good solid look. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend going out and spending $10,000 for a weight room. But Brother Ben, I do want to ask you about your weld, right? Did he weld it in place, or did he weld it and brought it in pieces?
It was in pieces. So basically, I only had 3 pieces, the two main sides, and then there was these thick bars. So it's 3 bars that he had that sort of made the U shape to it. So the main weld. And what I really wanted was I wanted something that was very heavy duty. So he used like a 10, 12 gauge steel.
Yeah, steel.
Most of the cheap stuff you find on the market, usually it's like 14 gauge, 16 gauge, very unsturdy. I wanted something that was very durable.
Yeah.
So he just got the pieces. He welded they look like door frames. And then he got these bars that form the T's across the top and the bottom. And so it's very sturdy. And I didn't have to spend, because again, you're looking for 10 or 12 gauge racks. I mean, you're talking again up to and over $1,000, $1,500 for a rack. I wanted something better. It's a local brother down the street, and so I just kind of told him what he wanted, and he just kind of fashioned it for me. Not perfectly, but I kind of, like I said, I had to make my own little additions, make sure the holes were where you put the support stands up.
Yeah.
Good enough, so I had to do a little, make the holes a little bit wider.
The stopper pins.
Exactly. Yeah. So I had to make some adjustments. So he did the, like I said, a lot of the leg work, and I just kind of did the rest, in order to make sure it was done. So again, just little things like that that I did to do it. But I'm always, fashioning, just different things, based on my needs. I've had existing equipment. So I have a like a leverage shoulder press machine. And I wanted something where the handles were more in front of me because
Hmm.
usually I get a lot of shoulder discomfort when my shoulders are out
Yeah, so
wide.
put stress on
So
that. So yeah.
so I wanted something more like at a 45. So I just had the same welder. He just put some handles on that allow my hands to be here. So this is a much more comfortable press from doing it here. So again, so just based on my need, I've had some customizations done. If a piece of equipment may have had some damage to it or something broke or something or gave way on it, he would reinforce it and make it stronger than it was when I first brought it. So so just things like that. Certainly if if he's a good welder, if you tell them what you want, if you can kind of sketch out what you want on a piece of paper or whatever, they can kind of take it from there and do the legwork for you. So that's an option too if you don't want to go and spend the big money, with some of the big companies out there. You can certainly fashion your own. And plus I like a little bit it to feel kind of like an old school gym. I don't like it too sanitized or whatever. So a little, it's got a little wear on it, a little customization is something that I've always liked. But yeah, but I wanted to show this here. So for tonight, as far as any resistance that I'm going to use, I basically went into my cupboard and I only picked the items that were in my cupboard. So this is all that we're going to be using. It's just these common items, cans, bottles. I got jugs of water. So basically, this is what I used during COVID, during the pandemic. This is all I used for it. So I just went into my cupboard and I just picked out various items from my cupboard. And then I went and I got me and I just got a travel bag that I had. So let me go back here and share my screen again. So this should be coming up any second now. So I just basically took all these items from my cupboard and I put them in this travel bag. All right. So this is where I've been taking when I've been doing my traveling and whatnot. So this is the bag, in fact, right here. So this is the bag right here. See, I still got my travel tags from last time I traveled. Now this here weighs 45 pounds. And what I also used, because again, we're about to travel, leaving out the country next week. One thing that I recommend that people may want to get um, is a measuring a weight measure. So again, like if you travel with the airlines, they say that you have to have you can't the maximum weight of your suitcase needs to be 50 pounds. And so this little scale here could be very useful if you want to use a specific weight or weightage when you're working out. You can use this. So the reason I was able to figure out it was 45 pounds, I simply just wrapped it around the bag and I lifted it up and it was 45 pounds. Now I
Hmm.
also have here, so you have gallons of water. Now this jug is 8 pounds. So again, a gallon of water is typically about 8 pounds. So this here is also, and it already has a handle on it. And the
Hmm.
one, and so these also, you can also use in a workout to get some work in with these. And so one thing I'm always telling people as well is it's not so much about the what you're using. The weight isn't the issue. It's what you do with the weights that's the issue. It's one thing to lift weights. In fact, I tell people all the time, we're not here to lift weights. That's not my goal. What we are here to do is to flex the muscles against the resistance. So I can easily pick up this jug and I can just pick it up and down, but that's not the goal. I want to flex my muscle against a resistance. So it doesn't matter what equipment or weights that you have in your hand. A question that you have to ask yourself is the body working? So it's not about the weights, it's about what the body is doing. That's most important. And a lot of people that it's like I got to have certain equipment, I got to have certain environment. And again, you may be that person where that might be true, where you may need that kind of environment in order to work out. But what I'm suggesting though is learn how your body works, learn how to flex muscles and understand what they do, learn body mechanics, and then apply appropriate resistance against it so that you can get the most out of almost anything. So it doesn't matter if you go down to the park, because a lot of parks they have those workout stations. They got the pull-up bar and the dip bar and just different things. It doesn't matter if you're there or if you're in a high class gym, because you could be in a high class gym and still not know what you're doing. I mean, any one of us can go to a gym and see guys using bad form, not using the proper, not the wrong technique. And so those could be things that could certainly also limit you in the gym as well. So I want people to be mindful of that, that it doesn't matter necessarily the environment that you're using, but it's about what you are doing against the meaningful resistance. And that is what is ultimately going to bring results more so than just, oh, I got the best piece of equipment. The equipment doesn't do the work. You do the work. And so for a young person who's interested in wanting to start working out and exercising and whatnot, make sure you get someone to teach you how to do it properly and do it correctly. And then you didn't add on it from there. So if you start out 10, 12, whenever you get started in working out, make sure that you start off on the right foot so that you don't, cause injuries too soon, and that you can certainly work out. Because my thing is now is I'm certainly at this point in my life, I'm interested in health for a lifetime, not just necessarily even how I look. I want to be able to, I'll be, some in my middle 50s, and I want to be able to continue to do this for a long time. So that's really what this is going to be about. So this is about what if you can't get to a gym, maybe you're working late, maybe you're traveling on the road, maybe you're staying at a place where they don't have a hotel, or you go to the hotel and the equipment's out of place, or you don't feel comfortable simply because if you're a woman, and you may not want to be in there with a bunch of guys, or vice versa these days. Like, if I see a woman in a small gym or whatever, I just using wisdom, not to say that she's wrong or anything like that, but I'm just using wisdom. I don't want to put myself in a situation where it's just a couple of us in there. You just don't know what can happen and whatnot. So that's just me. That's just my personal view. You guys do what you feel is right for you. But what could you do with just a few items in your home that you can get a workout in? So again, common household items around the house. Get a weight scale, a luggage scale. This guy here goes all the way up to 80 pounds, almost 90 pounds. I want to see have some balance when you do when you do work out. Certainly make sure that you have those items that are available. And so I'm going to just show you some basic moves. Again, my traditional training is pretty simple. A few lessons ago, I talked about there's 5 basic movements that I think a person should do that generally cover the body generally. Now, again, there's a million different machines. I know, especially if you're a bodybuilder, there's a million different angles that you can work with. There's all kinds of things that you can do weight wise. I recognize that. But what really, I've narrowed it down to there's 5 primary compound moves that a person can do that cover generally what a person needs to do when working out. But Coach, I just want to set up my computer, and I need to run and get something. So if you could just man the floor for a couple of
Yeah,
minutes
yeah.
while I
I'm
get set
just
up.
gonna comment really quick before you go, just about your weight, right? Your bag, your luggage weight, right? In the military, the required weight to when you went out on a mission or training, when you wore your rut sack, they call it a rut sack, which is an oversized backpack, right? It was a 50-pound weight requirement. They used to actually weigh
Oh,
it
is that
similarly.
right?
So
Wow.
you had to walk around every day once you got to that stage with 50 pounds on your back.
Wow.
And typically it would be between 3 to 5 miles that you would walk back to camp, base camp, after they've
Wow.
taken you out into whatever training area, whether it was the gas chamber, whether it was a shooting range, whether it was just the fine range, the grenade range, anywhere that you was going to do some training. And typically you had to walk back, and you always that day or morning, night before morning, you had to make sure your bag was 50 pounds. So you wasn't just walking around with a light bag. And you had to have
Wow.
all the supplies that were on the list for you to have. And when I went to Air Assault School, it was mandatory 50 pounds, and you have to do 12 miles in less than 3 hours with the 50-pound bag and your gun at almost at ready arm. So you had to walk with both hands on your weapon for 12 miles within 3 hours. And I wasn't first, but I sure wasn't last. I did it in 2 hours and 40 minutes, my
Right.
12 miles.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Now, that's awesome. Yeah. So again, so we're not going to be doing anything that a person, again, military wise, again, you're going to be very familiar, familiar with that as far as what you can do. So I'm gonna try to then simulate a lot of what you're talking about, Coach. So again, if I was to take, I'm gonna adjust my camera here so I could, I'll be standing up. So again, so just with basic household items in the house,
Yeah, just give
that
it a
up.
slight tip back, a slight, like a
All
half a centimeter inch tilt.
right.
It'll get you.
I'm gonna
That's
tilt
good
this one
right there.
too.
You, it's pretty
Okay.
good. You know,
Okay. So again, so I'm gonna take this bag, which is 50 pounds, and I'm gonna put it on.
before you start, let me make a mention of safety. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, you see Brother Bennett, and I don't think he mentioned it. He does have knee braces on, so it would
You want
behoove
to
you
call
to.
you want to call that out?
No, but make sure that if you've had trouble with your knee, if you had any trouble with, joints and things, make sure you consult with your medical professional before you just start working out and throwing 50, 60 pounds on your back. Make sure your knees are capable. If you have to have any fluids drained, make sure you do it. Flexibility is a must. And
Right.
see, he has those knee braces on because he is thinking about his safety
Right.
first.
Gotcha.
Yes, so always safety first. And, again, it's not a race. This is a marathon. He's going to show you the technique, and he's going to show you some basic exercises you can do without spending a lot of money at the gym.
Right. Right. So one of the things that I'm always telling clients is especially when you're first starting out and when you're older, it's not always about having the explosive movements that really matters. In fact, I'm going to prop this guy up here. I think this will be a better angle. Let me just set my camera here.
It was a good angle right there. I mean, you can see it, but that's
Okay. So one of the things for example, for your legs, right? So again, now you can walk around just like Coach was saying with the 50 pound. Now I have weight vests that I can put a 200 pounds on, but just here, just with the 50 pounds, just walking around the house with this kind of resistance is something that you could certainly do. My mic just fell off, so hopefully it'll stay on. But here, with it on. So let's say if you're going to do a basic squat. So again, a body weight squat. Now a lot of guys kind of go jump up and down, but if you do it slowly, so this is kind of so what I typically have people do. You take a shoulder width slightly than shoulder width stance, get into like a prayer position, and then slowly squat down, and then come up slowly, and then again down, If you need to balance yourself, you can stick your hands out and then return. Down again. Your little pause at the bottom and then return. And again. Now, I've had guys struggle. If you're not used to working out at all or doing any kind of squatting movements, I've had guys struggle just with their own body weight. So a lot of times what I recommend to a person, if that's a struggle for you, then I would say use something like a chair to brace yourself with. So again, you can do the same movement, squat down, but you brace yourself against a chair or a wall, and then you come up. Now, if you really want to make this challenging, the most challenging way to do this is never stop moving. So you don't pause at the bottom or the top. You just keep moving. As soon as I come down, I come up slowly. And then down again. And then
And
up.
it's important to always keep your head above your heart. Never lower your head below your heart.
Lower your head. Keep it up. And then down again.
Keeping your back straight. Putting your
Now
body.
that's it. Now that's an issue. If you're leaning forward too much, put your hands out in front of you. So as you go down, the arms go forward. That's a counterbalance. And then you come back in. And then you rotate down again.
And making sure that you're breathing.
Yes.
Breathing is important, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
You could pass out holding
Absolutely.
your breath. So breathe.
So that's one thing you can do just with, and I wanted to use all the weight right away because I'm going to start at some point, I'm going to start taking the weights out. So I wanted to see what it was like with the maximum capacity of the bag before I get into something else. So this is one thing you could do. You could do a squat. I'm going to take this off. Lay this on the side for now. Now, what you can also do, instead of a squat, you can also do a lunge. So again, one leg. Now you can do lunge in place, or you could do a lunge forward. So again, a lunge in place, you stay here in this position, and you just lower yourself down. And then you just come back up. Block the chair. But you can use the chair here to balance yourself. If you're having balance issues, use the chair. And then come up, push through this leg to drive up, and then return. Now you can do this alone, or you can do this with weight. So say if I want to add a little weight to it, I can take my 8 pounds of water, hold it in one hand on this side that you're pressing on. You go down, and then you come back up. Again, same thing. You're doing it slowly. Look straight ahead, and then drive through the leg, and then come back up. You want to reverse it, switch legs, take the water on this side. If you want it more challenging still, get both jugs. Use that as a counterbalance. Go down, and then you come up. Down, and then come back up. So that's an in place. You can also do a stepping lunge. So a stepping lunge, you step into it. Step in, lunge, step back. You can do it one leg at a time for a number of reps, or you can alternate the legs. So again, you can step in, down, come back, switch legs, down, and come back. Again, down, come back, step up, down, and come back. Okay, so again, various leg exercises you can do. You can also, if you want, you can use, say, the couch that's in back of me, If you want to do a lunge here, if you want to stabilize a little bit, step here, you could do it from here. And then come up. Step down again, and drive up. Switch legs. Step back. So you're on your couch in your living room, go down, and drive up. Down again, and drive up. Now, if you could do those that strict with a little weight in your hand, you're going to start to feel this, right? So again, it's not putting 300-400 pounds on your back. It's not loading the leg press machine with 1,000 pounds. But if you're doing it with that slowness and really keeping the tension on the muscles as you're doing it, that could be certainly a very effective exercise. Again, only using things that are in your home. Now, again, if I wanted to, I could put the weight vest on. I could get the seat bag, 50 pounds. I could put that on again if I wanted to. And then you would do the same thing. That's just the legs, right? Now, one more thing you could do. Let's just say you want to work the calves. So what I have here, I have a couple of stands. I'm going to change my camera angle a little bit here. I'm going to lower this guy down. So I have a couple blocks, just wooden blocks that, again, had these from Home Depot. And they've served several uses over time. But let's just say, just for us, because I'm here, consider these blocks to be your staircase, okay? So your staircase, you want to work the calves. So again, so let's just say you're on the staircase. On the staircase, you step up, squat down, and actually we can use this one. Use one. Step down, squeeze up on the calf. Down, squeeze up on the calf. If you want to use weight, again, take your water again, your jug, use the chair to balance yourself or the wall or wherever you are. Squeeze up, then down. Get a good stretch at the bottom. Squeeze up again. Hold with the calf, and then down again. All right, so again, you can get a good workout, body squats, lunges. You can do a lot of that with simple things around the house. Now, if you really want to do something even more challenging, these I don't like to do at all. I'm going to just demonstrate just for a second here. Hopefully you guys can see me. Now, Coach, I'm sure you've done these, all right? What I'm about to do is, again, I don't like these at all. But, Coach, I know you've done these. So from this position here, just take a seat.
Off, man. Come on, man.
Now, how long can you hang out here? How long you hung out here, Coach?
Come on, man. You talking about if I was doing it in my prime? I mean, I don't know, man. I think I was clocked at like 6 minutes and some.
6 minutes? That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
One of my punishment techniques when I used to have my nephews back in the 90s living with me, right?
Right.
They would sit on the wall, man. That was their punishment, man. They sit on that wall 3 or 4 minutes at a time, man. And they had them young bones, they hadn't even developed real muscle yet.
Right.
And I used to talk to them like, look, if you can sit on this wall, then you'll be able to get through things in life, man. And it stuck with them because every time they get with me, they talk about me having them sit on the wall and what it did for them, as a young man. So yeah, man.
Right.
And and I think what, just in my learning of exercises, man, if you're able to balance yourself on the ball of your foot that's right there at
Right.
the foot of the big toe and before you get into the foot, if you're able to control that pretty well, you're able to have pretty good balance in working out. I've always took the preparation of working out. So I took my stretches more serious than I took, my warm up stretches more serious than I took actually lifting and working out.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So yeah, man, just the fact that you're giving demonstrations like that, and if anybody looking to work out, make sure your ground is always stable. Make sure you're equipped with a good pair of shoes, nothing too tight, something that would allow your toes to spread. Me, I'm a two sock guy when I work out.
Two socks.
So
Explain that.
just growing up playing basketball, football, I've always used two pair of socks to sort of just give my foot a little bit more stability. I never liked the feel of one pair of socks for some reason.
Right.
So I've always wore two pair of socks when I was working out. Cycling shoes, just one pair. Yeah, if I'm gonna just go in and giving a workout, I like to have sort of long socks and slide them down just below the calf muscle where my calf muscles would stand out.
Right. Gotcha. Gotcha. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. So I want to move. So I think I covered enough upper body work. So again, body squats, lunges, either stationary or stepping lunges, single leg lunges, wall squats. All these are things that you can do in your house. If you want additional resistance while you're doing them, use common household items, pack a bag, a luggage, a suitcase, or backpack. Put weights in there as much as you can find in there to give you some resistance. Use the weight scale to measure it out. If you want to track from workout to workout what you're doing, always keep a journal of the number of repetitions that you're doing, and just make sure that you're in position to always be that you're always able to track your progress over time. As you're doing this. So I want to kind of move on to some more upper body type exercises. So again, the legs obviously being the largest muscle group in the body. The next largest group is certainly the back. And so for the back, usually what I recommend for people to do is rows. So again, unless you get one of those, again, I'm doing this without equipment. So if you have one of those pull-up bar, remember, coach, those pull-up bars that you would put in the doorposts,
Yeah,
drawers, and
I used
do
to have
those. So
one of
again,
those.
if you have, I have them, but again, for the purpose of this video, because I don't know, unless you're going, I don't think it's practical to take one with you when you travel or in your hotel room. So the
Uh,
most sound thing to do is you can do certainly rows, using some resistance, as you're doing this. So again, I have here. So if I wanted to just kind of start out the basic form and technique to do a row. So again, if you want to brace yourself here, so again, this is 8 pounds. I want to brace myself here. Keep your back straight, look straight ahead, and it's like it's like a lawnmower. When you start a lawnmower, you pull, squeeze, hold, contract the back, slowly down. And then you return and you go again. Squeeze, hold, and down. So again, what weight you use is going to be dependent on how much weight that you can handle. So you can use the chair if you want to brace yourself. In fact, let me set up here. See a little bit better. Let's bring this down. So again, you can brace on, or you can use yourself, just brace on here. Okay, similar principle. You keep the back straight. Don't go over too much or too high. You want to be about right here. Keep the back straight. Keep an arch in the back. Pull, squeeze, and then down. So I'm just kind of showing technique here. in terms of how you do this.
Yes. And also within that technique, right? It's low impact. However, it's going to focus on your rotator cuff. Make sure that you're stretching and you don't exert your pull back when you're pulling your arm up. Don't try to overdo it just to the jug or whatever weight you're using. Just sort of gets close to your body, then release it. Make sure you're breathing. And again, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So you don't have to rush through the exercise. If you want to do 6, 8 reps, take your time. Think about lifting weights and working out with anything in the weight room. You want to take your time. Make sure you're doing the technique correctly. And don't, and again, it's so much information out there. Don't be afraid to do your research before you start. This is a great start. He's taken items around the house, nothing fancy. He's used a chair, a backpack full of groceries. I'm sure his wife had something to say about that. Some wooden blocks that you can get from Home Depot. I would say that's probably 2x8. What is it? Probably those two together. So I think this 12 by 4 foot, get them cut in half. And
Yep.
so, yeah, it may be less than, I think it's about $10, $12 because I've bought some recently. And it's about breathing. Make sure you breathe.
So what? So
You
what
know,
you want to do is breathe out and way up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. But yeah, the breathing is going to be important too, because a lot of times now the holding your breath is like natural. It's almost like a fight or flight response. But when you hold your breath, you're limiting the oxygen that's coming into your body, and then your body then taps out faster. So you need to breathe. In fact, the harder it gets, you breathe more, not less. So you always want to make sure you keep that in mind as you're doing it. So I just want to show you also what's important. It doesn't matter how much weight you have. You do the work with sufficient weight that allows you to keep perfect form. So you saw I did this with an 8 pound jug. And you saw me do this with 45 pounds in this bag. My form didn't change. A lot of times I'll see guys, especially in the gym, they'll start out with the light stuff, nice form. Once that weight starts being heavy, they start doing this to get the weight up. So I always encourage people as well, how you start is how you finish. What you do with no weight or a light weight, you do the same thing with the heavyweight. When it gets to a point where you can't handle the heavyweight properly, it's time to pull back. But a lot of injuries happen when guys try to overdo or overexert and they wind up pulling something because of their technique is bad. So it's always about the right form and the right technique. Always be in control of the weight. Don't just throw the weight around. That creates unnecessary momentum. And if you pull with momentum that the body can't handle, that's how muscles get torn and that's how muscles get pulled. So again, I just wanted to kind of show you, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Do it correctly from the first set, from the first rep to the last rep. And once your form starts to degrade, pull back and wait until you can do it properly before you step up and just say, okay, I need to put another 10 pounds on when you barely handle the 10 pounds that was on there prior. All right. So again, so this is just basic stuff, nothing that I've used here. So imagine this is my part of my basement. This is the lounge area of my basement. My TV, 70-inch TV is in back here. To come and hang out, watch the fight, watch the game. This could be your living room, your game room, whatever room it is. We're just taking basic items and we're just using them for this kind of training. So again, back, you can work your legs, but then let's work other parts of the body as well. Let's talk about your shoulders, right? Let's focus on those. So again, I'm just gonna unpack this bag a little bit, start taking some of the weights out. And again, it's just basic household items. Some of these items weigh a pound. Some of these things weigh 2 pounds. So again, 32-ounce bottles, can of beans, and I just filled up the bag. There's nothing special here. So again, it's not about the weight isn't important or what the weight is even consists of. People make a saying they want cast iron plates, stainless steel plates, copper plates. It doesn't matter what the plate is. It's simply a matter of can you get what you need in order to get the resistance necessary for the movement that you're doing. And so that's always something that's important. But again, common household items that you can use in the house. So again, if you just want to do, just work the shoulders a little bit. There's some basic, with me, especially now, I'm a little older. I'm very big on warming the shoulders up before I do put any serious weight on. So, definitely one thing I want to do is again, just do some basic circles. So again, this is 16. This is about a pound. These about a pound each. So again, so just do some basic warm ups with the cans. So you can go forward, you can go backwards. You're just warming the body up. You can make the circles bigger, wider, go backwards, but you just want to warm up before you get started. So I like to do a little work here just to make sure that my shoulders are warmed up before I get started. Now, once you do that, now you can start measuring out, right? Again, just showing here. In fact, I need to go. I need to grab a couple bags. Coach, why don't you keep the conversation started? I'll be back in a minute. Any comments on warming up before working out? Any comments that you may have on that? Just give me a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, as he was saying, again, when you're working out, what I found earlier is that, it's important to warm up before you work out. If you're going to do any weightlifting, it's important to stretch all joints and areas that you're going to be working out that day. I wouldn't recommend working out your entire body, your legs and your midsection and your upper body all in the same day, because your body would be really, really sore from head to toe. It'd be hard to walk, bend over, move, pick up things, anything, drive, sit in a seat. So definitely plan it out over the course of the week. A lot of people do from waist up on Mondays, maybe waist down on Tuesdays, then Wednesday back to waist up, may add a different exercise. And initially, at least 10 days, your body's going to be in adjustment period. Your muscles are going to be sore. You definitely have to continue to get your fluids, drink water, get your electrolytes up. I would recommend eating more fruit than something store-bought. Oranges are a good source of vitamin C. Bananas are a good source of potassium if you like fruits, but you can always do your own research and find whatever fruit is good for you. Your cherries are good for you, raspberries, even lemons have some medicinal effects. But yeah, again, we go to the grocery store often. I don't think people correlate a good diet along with the physical activity. So yeah, just definitely do your homework, take the pre-workout serious, and follow the techniques when you learn it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, just to reiterate, that it's not about what it is. So again, this is a common barbell or a dumbbell that someone will use. And let's say if you want to do, say, a side lateral raise, does it really matter if you're using this or something like this? At the end of the day, is it giving you a meaningful resistance? And again, just as I say with all exercises, I tend to do them slowly. So again, for me, the way I train clients, usually it's typically a 2 to 4, usually about a 2-second raise and a 4-second lower. So again, you see a lot of guys at the gym just throwing the weight up like this. But again, slow and controlled. Hold at the top, slowly lower. Again, up towards the top, hold at the top, slowly lower. Or coach, when you talked about your discipline your kids, your nephews and whatnot with the wall, here's another one you can certainly do. You can just have them just hold these guys. These are about 2 pounds apiece. Just sit down and just hold these. And you can't move. Now, it may feel light. I mean, certainly for me, this feels relatively light, but imagine how long could you hold something in this position? A minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. May not seem like much. And keep in mind, I'm 6'3", so I got at least a 75-inch wingspan. How long could I hold this? I'm already starting to feel it in the shoulder already.
Mm-hmm.
How long could you hold this? So again, if the kid, they may get used to those wall squats. So it's like, okay, I see you can hold the wall squat, now just hold this for time being. But again, you can still use these for, again, this is a side lateral raise. Slow and control. Control the negative, squeeze up, hold. All right. So again, that's a side raise. If you want to do a press, now again, it doesn't matter if you're using a dumbbell or a barbell. The principle's the same. About 2 to 3 seconds up, 4 seconds down. So I'm not doing these. That's throwing the weight up. We're not doing that. About 2 seconds up, 4 seconds down. 2 seconds up, 4 seconds down. Again, 2 seconds up, 4 seconds down. If you want something a little more challenging, so again, these are 2 pounds apiece. I can use my water jugs. Don't forget about those. So again, these are 8 pounds apiece. Same principle. 2 seconds up, 4 seconds down. 2 seconds up, 4 seconds down. This was leaking a little bit. But let's say if you want to add even more weight, that's why I got the shopping bags. So again, shopping bags, you can start to stuff them with things. So again, if I want to take a couple of cans, each can is a pound. If I want to start loading these up, so I'll put 4 cans in here. And I'll take another bag.
Brother Bennett.
Yes, sir.
Somebody made a comment to you in the comment section, right? Said you recall you included a bagel press in one of your previous workout videos. He said he was wondering if you could.
A what press?
What is it called? He called it a beagle press.
A beagle press? No, I don't. The beagle isn't available at this time. The beagle is detained. So, but you can. I had used my beagle. I've done sit-ups with my beagle in my hands, in my arms, and I'm doing decline sit-ups with them and whatnot. So yes, there've been several times where I've used my beagle for certainly for that kind of those kind of workouts.
Yeah, and Katalia said she recommends is that band training, the resist bands, something, is light in weight, very light in weight, but it also gives you that tension and that resistance to pull on. I have some of those.
My only thing with bands, and again, I certainly do have some. My only thing with bands that I don't like about them is the strength curve of bands, because typically the resistance on the band really happens at the end of the movement. It doesn't give you consistent resistance through it. So the first part of the movement is going to be easy. It gets hard at the end. I tend to like movements that are going to give me some resistance certainly throughout the range. So like here, for example, so here I'm already feeling the weight of these bags here. So as I press up, the resistance is consistent throughout the entire range as I'm pressing up. But I do know people who do use bands. But keep in mind, the part of this is that's cheating because bands is considered a piece of fitness equipment. Everything that I'm using today is not a piece of equipment. It's just something that I picked up in the house. So you would have to go physically and buy bands if you were going to use them. But how would you use them in this instance when you don't have access to those? Or what happened during the pandemic, you couldn't even buy bands because all the gyms are closed and any piece of fitness equipment that anybody can get, everything was sold out then if you could get it. So what if you can't get there? So this is like you're staying in your basement, in your bunker or whatever. You got nothing else to work with except the stuff in your cupboard. And so I'm just using equipment. I'm just using things that again it's just to add resistance. But bands definitely they can be useful. But really, the fact that the only time I really like to use bands is on tricep movements. So I may take a band and go back with a tricep, and it really gives me a contraction here. But generally, there's no resistance in the early part of the movement. Like this part of the movement, there's no resistance there. It's only at the end when the band is fully stretched out is when I feel it. So again, I'm not as fond of bands, but I do recognize their application and obviously their convenience, especially when either you're traveling or if again, working with weights may not be a viable option for you. So again, so that's a move that you can do. Now again, another for the rear delts. So again, we had the front delts with the presses. We have the side delts with the side laterals. Again, you can work your rear delts also. I'm just going to move my bag over. So again, let's say if you're in a chair. So again, I'm going to take my weights here, come to the edge of the bench, bend over, and then out to the sides. Hold in the contracted position, slowly down. Then out again, squeeze the back. So again, it's not about lifting the weights. It's not again, you see guys at the gym just jacking it up like this. It's not about that. Stay stationary in position. Contract the back, squeeze the middle portion of the back, hold with the back, and then slowly lower the weight. And then you go again, squeeze, holds with the back, and then slowly lower. But when a little extra weight, I go back to my 8-pound jugs. Similar principle. Squeeze. Now this is actually challenging. Squeeze, hold, and then lower. And come out again. See, I'm feeling it right here. If this was a band, I wouldn't be feeling it. I wouldn't feel the band until I got it here. But I feel this all the way down until about right here. So again, bands have their uses, but I prefer to use a weight. Now that's a challenging weight for me. I could probably do 8 to 10 reps just with that weight using those. So again, so we worked the legs, we worked the entire shoulder chain. Now we can go into some other work. Now we can use, we stand up. Start to work the arms. So again, it's just some basic curls, right? Bicep curl. Now again, guys in the gym, we don't do that here. This isn't rock and roll, right? Keep the elbows into the sides. That's my camera here. Since I'm standing, a little more tip there. Arms to the sides. You flex your biceps. You don't just lift the weight. Flex your bicep against the resistance that's in your hands, and then lower under control. Then flex your biceps again. Now, me normally, I think it's natural for the arms to go slightly outward. Some guys, they do it, they bring the weight right up to the front. But where I feel the contraction the most in my bicep is when I squeeze out to the side. And then you slowly lower under control. Keep the elbow. Don't let the elbow move. A lot of guys, when they're lifting the weight, as the weight raises, their elbows move. Now, what gets activated when you do that? When you let the elbow rotate, the shoulder becomes involved. See, the shoulder is lifting the upper arm. I don't want to lift the upper arm. I only want to work the bicep. So keep the elbows pinned to the side as you do it. And then slowly lower it.
And Brother Bennett, even with that exercise and the movements, and I think Katalia sort of alluded to it, it's a different targeted muscle from you're having your hands closed and having your hands open. It's going to get a different type of resistance if you from whether you have your hands closed coming up and down or open and coming down.
When it's open, it's definitely more targeted because what tends to happen when your wrist is closed, as you're bringing it up, you tend to work a little bit of the wrist action. So as you're curling the way up, the wrist kind of helps with the assist to bring the weight up, and it shortens the lever. See, when your hand is open, this is the longest lever. So again, more resistance is going to be at the end of the arm as you're lifting it up. If I close, now I've shortened the distance, and it makes the weight easier to lift. It's just physics, all right? The more weight at the end of your arm, the longer the lever, the more weight is there. Now again, you can do, like I said, the bicep work with that. If you want more weight, you can fill your bags up. Fill your bags with as much as you can handle. Weigh your bags, use the weight scale, and then do the same thing. Elbows at the sides, squeeze up. If you want to keep your hands open, you can do that as well. Keep the weights towards the ends of your fingers as you do it. But you squeeze, you flex the bicep. You let the bicep do the work. You don't just lift the weights up. And you squeeze. And then you lower. If you want to do a little bit more forearm work, more of the brachialis and the forearm, you can do what's called like a hammer curl. This is where the jugs come in. Because the jugs, so rather than holding your hands in a supinated position that activates the bicep, if you have it in a neutral position, then you're going to work more of the forearm. So again, with the jugs of water, same principle, elbows at the sides, squeeze up. See, this is working more your brachialis and your forearms. Doing it this way. You squeeze up, hold, and then lower under control. One more time. And then under control. Again, depending on how much weight you use. Now I've curled with 45s, dumbbells. So if I really want to, if I want to load the bag again, I can do one arm at a time with that 45-pound weight. I can do that. I can handle that. I've gone up to 55 with dumbbell curls. But just to show you, but again, the technique doesn't change. As the weight gets heavier, I don't start just jacking the weight up with my arm as I'm doing it. So these are some basic moves that you can do. So again, work your biceps. Let's say if you want to work your triceps. Lots of ways you can do that. One of the ways is simply just an overhead tricep extension. Okay, get a full extension here and then squeeze and contract up and then down. You want a little more weight? Grab the bag, Same principle. Squeeze up and then down. A little more unruly with the bag. So what you might want to do is use the water. Make sure the lid is tight. And you can use the water jug. But again, you let the triceps do the work. Tricep overhead. Do that arm. Switch over. And do the other arm. In a slow and controlled fashion. Good stretch. Squeeze up. Rotate down. And up again. So again, triceps, biceps, shoulders, back, legs. The only thing we haven't really done yet is the chest and a bit more work in the front delts. If you want to work sort of multiple body parts at once, certainly I've shown you some isolation moves. Clearly, one of the kings of body weight, upper body work is the push-up. All right. So again, I'm going to show you how I do how I've done push-ups, and different techniques that I've used over time in terms of doing push-up variations. But again, push-ups is almost like the squat. It kind of like it works most of the upper body. It works the chest, it works the shoulders, it works the triceps. So again, push-ups is a very good move. It's a very good exercise to employ when you want to, when you don't have, again, access to a gym or whatnot. It's just overall, it's just a good exercise to use. And there's so many different variations of it that you can literally be anywhere. And I know, Coach, you started with push-ups, and as a kid and whatnot. That's what you started with as a foundational movement for you, and that's certainly something that we typically start kids with until they get to a certain age, said 13, 14 on average, and then you can certainly bring the weights in at a later time. But push-ups, you can start very early. When did you start doing push-ups, Coach?
Man, I can go back to probably age 5 or 6 years old doing push-ups. My father used to do push-ups when he was getting ready for his PT test by being in the National Guard. So I just used to emulate that. And then all throughout elementary school and early into middle school, man, PT classes definitely had you doing your share of push-ups. And me, I've always wanted to be the one that could do the most. So, whether, I was the best, I just wanted to be always able to say that I could do it. Anything came to physical exercise, I just always had the mindset that if I'm hanging with a group of guys, I want to be one of the best at doing it. So it was I guess it just became a mindset early on, and everything about my life, pretty much, I've always took pride in being able to do a few push-ups. I won a few contests, especially with high schoolers, and I won, like I said, I know we talked about doing push-ups I think a few months ago, and I was sort of challenged on a live a couple of weeks ago. And me being in my, late 50s, 57, I think the next oldest guy on the panel was like 42. And I did maybe 5 or 6 more. I think we went to our goal. We didn't really have a goal. It was just set out to be doing the most, but I did a total of 110. I did those in 3 sets. And I was just trying to do 1 or 2 more than the guy that I was competing against. We started out at like 4 of us, and then
Right.
it ended up with just 2. But yeah, the techniques also. And Brother Bennett, could you demonstrate a good technique for females or someone who may not have the upper body strength yet? Because I know in the military, it was always you could do the push-ups on your knees, but your body still had to maintain its I guess a straight angle. The only thing with your legs bent on your knees, maybe a 45-degree angle, a 90-degree angle.
Right. Well, the important thing I think when doing the push-up, I think what a lot of people look for is you want to make sure how your back is set up is really what's most important. So, put a little room here. So, if I was going to start out, so again, I think the front camera is going to kind of give you the best angle of it. So, again, when you're doing a push up of any nature, whether you be on your knees or in this position, so a lot of guys, when they start out, their back, either the back is too low or too high, their head is down or looking up. So, again, you want relatively shoulder width apart, and you want your arms at 45. So again, if I was to turn this way, so my arms aren't too far, I want the angle of my arm to be at about 45 degrees away from my body. I don't want it out here. I don't want it on my sides. Now there's a role for this. Okay, these what you guys call military push-ups, where your elbows are at your sides as you're doing it. I want my arm out. My elbow should be about 45 degrees. So again, I want my back straight, and I'm not looking straight ahead nor straight down. I'm picking an angle, kind of like at 45 degrees where I'm kind of looking downward. So this is going to be, for me, my ideal setup. Now, for a woman, if you're going to be doing them, usually they say they're on your knees. But again, the back should be straight. Shouldn't be up too high, nor too low. Head shouldn't be down, nor should it be up, about right here. Now, if for some reason you can't even do this, then I would say elevate. Let me bring these blocks in. So the more vertical your back is, the easier it is going to be to do. So this is going to be a lot easier. The flatter your back, more of your weight is going to be bearing. So this is going to be harder. The most extreme case, I would say, if you got to start with leaning against the wall, again, having that vertical angle, start there. But eventually you want to get more and more horizontal as you do them. So again, this could be, let's say if this is your staircase at the foot of the stairs, start here. But you want to work on that angle until you get here. And then you want to get to a point where you're off the ground. Now, typically, there's a lot of different ways to do push-ups. Now, Mandrell was clowning me the other day on a video because I was just doing some to get the blood pumped up in the muscle. So I was doing them very fast, and I wasn't going full range of motion. Mine was more like I'm just getting blood into the chest before I did my chest workout with the weights. So he was clowning me for my push-ups. But I understand if I was going for a push-up test or a PT test or whatever, I know none of those would count as a push-up. I understand that. So I didn't do them that way. But that wasn't the goal of it. But he had to clown me as I was doing some warm-ups before I went into my chest workout. But that's okay, Mandrell. Mandrell's the ultimate troller, so we love him anyway. But in any event, but again, the push-up, you can do them fast. There's all kinds of angles. You can do wide. You can do diamond. You can do one if you're strong enough. You could do one-handed. There's all kinds of different techniques that you can use to do push-ups with. Now, what I found recently, what I also like to do is because one, for some people, doing push-ups can be very hard on the wrist. As you can see here, when I'm in position, my wrist is taking a lot of load, especially if you got anything with wrist issues, carpal tunnel issues, or what have you. That could be something that is, problematic. So I found a couple ways to kind of get around that to make it a little bit easier. One thing you can do is you could use push-up stands as you're doing push-ups. Now, again, just for the sake of showing them, not that they would count here. So I made my own. These I made years ago with some PVC pipe from Home Depot. I just put them together, and I just got some basic equipment, put some feet on 'em. I got the wide ones because it's very easy on the hands. And what it also does is it does two things for me. One, it gives me a deeper range of motion. But what it also does is where I also found comfortable when I'm doing push-ups, again, not military, I'm not going for a PT test, but also is when I put the weight, the bars at an angle, about right here. So it's just like when I'm doing a chest press. Again, when I'm pressing, my elbows are at 45 degrees. When I do a chest press, it's not here. It's more at a 45-degree angle. So I like my arms to be in a position where they're going to be at a 45-degree angle as I'm doing the push-up. So I'll angle my push-up bars here. So this makes it a lot more comfortable, and I can get deeper. And then up. Deep. And then up. Deep. And then up. So again, so this is something that I use. But let's say if you don't have these, what I also found recently that's also comfortable is these wooden planks that I built. These also provide a nice alternative because rather than putting all that weight on pressure on my wrist here, I put my hands at the front of the bar here. It takes a lot of the pressure off. So I set these up. And what the stands also do is they still give me a deeper stretch than a standard push-up. So again, I set my wrists right here at the front. Go deep and then up. Deep and then up. Deep and then up. Less pressure on the wrist. I get a deeper stretch. And it really, and it's sort of it's a good way. Now, last variation that I use the same principles that I use with everything else. I use a slow negative lowering and then a 2-second contraction. Now, again, I know, Coach, you said you could do 45, 50 in a row. Would you say what you could do in a row about 45?
Repeat that again about the 45.
Now I'm saying how many push-ups in a row you can do without stopping?
Oh, shoot. That day, man, I did like 45. Yeah, about 45, 46. Yeah.
45 in a row. Okay.
That's at
Now,
57. At 20 years ago, I could do
I got you.
almost 97 in a row before I stopped.
Gotcha. All right. So now I'm assuming at what pace were you doing those push-ups? How fast?
In the military training, you're trying to knock out as many as you can in 2 minutes. But when I was doing like just push-ups just to be in shape, it wasn't no time. I would just do them in a good steady flow.
Right.
So it wasn't about, similar. It was totally opposite of someone, going down and holding. I didn't do a lot of holding.
Gotcha.
My press.
Right. So more of your push-ups were kind of more like these.
Yeah, just going, to that
Okay.
capacity.
So now an alternative is I do them just like I do everything else. You do them slowly.
And ladies and gentlemen, Brother Bennett has been doing these push-ups for some time now. Definitely ensure that your hands are stable as possible. When you want to do a push-up, make sure all fingers and the palm of your hand are all secure on the ground. You don't want to have fingers up, and try to get you can balance yourself a lot better with your entire hand placed on the surface, and gives you a good leverage to push yourself up. So if you're going to
Right.
use an incline, just ensure that your hands are sort of secured to the ground.
Now, those in particular that I just did, again, that's a specialized form of push-up. Most guys can't do more than 10 of those. I just did 7 just to show it. But doing them that slowly is definitely going to wear you out. And you're not doing, again, the rapid pace, just one after the other. But sometimes, again, just slowing it down is a way that you can make sure that you can, certainly give an alternative. I'm saying mix it up. Sometimes you want to do it slow. Sometimes you want to do them fast. Sometimes you want to do them wide. Sometimes you want to do them narrow. Now I'm just coming up here, Coach. I'm just switching out my earbuds because they're about to go out. So I'm just gonna grab a pair. And I want to do one more thing tonight, if my wife is willing. We got one more thing we need to do. So I'm going upstairs now to get her.
Uh-oh, brother, you didn't get that all cleared before you started
Oh, we
this?
did. Oh, sure, of course we
Okay.
did. Of course I did.
Okay.
Of course I
I
did.
was great.
She just didn't know when I'd be ready.
Don't be
So I'm in the room
disturbing
now.
the peace.
So are you ready? You gonna join me or not? Okay. Huh? No, you're not on film. Well, we're gonna go. All right, so she's gonna come down. She's gonna join me for a minute. We're gonna do something special here. Gotta give
No,
a.
ladies and gentlemen, y'all getting a special treat
You
from
guys getting
Mr.
bonus.
Mr.
How much time have you been on? Oh, we've been on an hour and a half, so we good. Time's still good. We just want to give you guys a little extra, a little alternative. This is something that I actually used to do a while ago. I haven't done these for a minute, but we used to do these classes, these group classes, team building activities that we used to do for people. And so this activity here is something that you can do with a partner. And so, your husband and wife. So again, you guys home, y'all ain't doing nothing, and you guys can do some things together to kind of help you guys work out together. So I'm going to show you a few moves on how we get down in terms of being able to work out together using, again, stuff in the house. Again, the rule is you can't use any gym equipment, no bands, just what can you use in your house to kind of get your workout on. So she's fixing to come downstairs in a minute. So I'm just going to be setting up here and get some wide angles here so we can kind of show you guys kind of what we do, how we do this thing. And in fact, what I also need to do is I need to raise this up a little bit so we can get this going. While I'm waiting for her to come down. So, Coach, so you and your wife work out together? You guys train together? You guys kind of do your own thing?
We in the same space. She likes the treadmill and the knotless equipment. I'm right now, man. I'm more so the Peloton bike and the rowing machine. Those are my
Right.
two favorite. Yeah. So we don't actually we've done some assisting each other in some of the floor exercises. Some I don't know, burpees. We have a medicine ball that we pass back and forth sometime in doing a little sit up, just passing it back and forth and doing some more. I guess watch it pass. Yeah, so we work with the medicine ball together.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to show you a couple things here as he gets ready to go down, to come down here. And we'll just show you a little bit of what we've taught, what we've done. Like I said, we've done group classes together. We've done classes at our church, showing people. So we'll get a room with 25, 40, 50 people in there, and we'll just show them some of the things that we do. But one of the things that that you can do, certainly with a partner, especially if it's a partner that has a similar strength level as you do, there's a lot of work that you can do using nothing but towels. So there's some towel workouts that you can do with a partner
You could do it either as a warm up prior to working out, or it's just stuff that you guys can do together. So while I'm waiting on her, just to kind of talk about this is also what this is. This exercise is also good for is relating to the person that you're with. All right, it's communicating with the person that you're with. So it allows you to really feel and sense where a person is. When they tell you they need a little bit more, you can give it to them. A little bit less, hold up. So again, it's about, especially when you're in a group setting, when you're talking about icebreakers, when you talk about getting people to work in teams and work in pairs, it just allows you guys to, kind of bond a little bit through just some general activity. So this is something that we've used, like I said, in the past. It's been a minute since we did this, and I've never done it on the live. So this is going to be a first time. And certainly as I'm hearing her, hopefully she'll be down here in a minute, we can kind of talk about, just some of the things that what you can do simply just using a towel or a set of towels, that you can do a lot of workouts, complementary workouts with each other. And we'll look to close out the show. So I'm going to bring her down now. I'm not going to, she's very camera shy, so she's going to help me here, but she's not going to speak. She may wave at you guys. She's not going to say too much or anything, at least through the mic that I have here. But we're going to, do this. So hopefully she'll be here in a second, and we'll talk about, again, how to do some of these buoys. But yeah, just using some basic towels in your house, you can do some significant things with it. So let me just, hopefully she'll be down here in a sec.
We good, brother Bennett, man. What all you got back there, man? Look like you got a whole gym stored up back there, man.
While I'm waiting on her, I guess I could give you guys a tour of the gym. Let me just change to the back camera here. All right, so I just could give you guys a quick tour of the place. So again, this is my wife's speed bike. So again, and she used to be a certified spin instructor, and during the pandemic, I got her this bike. So she went back to taking classes. She just wanted to change herself a little bit more, but she decided to put that together. So going into the main area, this is what I created in COVID. So again, I made this weight stack, these weight pulleys. See by taking some stuff from Home Depot, some cables. So I just kind of put these together. So I got three of them, three pulley systems here that I got set up. All right, so so I do my cable flies on these. I do a lot of rear lateral work. Here I got my Gazelle Freestyle, which I appreciate now because again, it doesn't have a lot of impact on the joints. This here is a low back machine that I use to certainly help to strengthen the lower back. And I know Katia was asking before about where I get my fitness equipment from. So again, here is my leg extension, leg curl machine combination. I got a parallel dip bar. So again, I could take this outside. Here's my seated calf raise machine that I use, and this is my standing calf raise machine that I use. This is the rack that my welder built. So again, it was just the raw metal, but then I had again, I painted it. I got to rep my Steelers. So again, I got my black and yellow Steelers, and so these are the main bars. So he basically put these two main yellow pieces together, and it's supported by these beams. So it's my squat rack. These are my squat stands. This is my main piece of fitness equipment, my Power Deck lever jam. So this is my leg press attachment. I have a chest fly attachment, so it has an adjustable bench. It has a high-low cable pulley. Again, it's plate loaded. I got about 1,500 pounds of weight plates down here. So here's some additional accessories. So I got here a Hex squat bar. I got various barbell squats. Squat stands. This is my shoulder combination shoulder press and side lateral machine. Here's a lot of my accessories, so I got my main handles. These handles here from Maximum Advantage Grips, game changer. I don't even use these guys anymore. I need to get rid of these. I got these handles here, so much more comfortable. I don't have to wrap my wrist when I do stuff. Life changing with that. So yeah, so I still squat. This is my squat rack, and I do squats at the end now. I don't do them at the beginning like I used to because I don't need all that weight on my back. So I just kind of. This here is also a lifesaver. This here is a top squat. This is an old school bodybuilder, Dave Draper. He fashioned this top squat device. It's like a safety bar for squatting. Because again, squatting used to hurt my shoulders because I had to put my arms all the way back. So he had came out with this here. It's got the handles in the front that allow you to keep your arms in front of you. Definitely keeps you, definitely a lot safer when you're squatting. And here's the missus. So she is on the Gazelle. Again, it's very friendly to the knees. You can wave, dear, say how you doing. So we're just going to show you guys just some things that you can do just with some towels, and how you can, use this. Just as, again, you can use it as a warm up before you work out. You can use it, again, team building activity, and just to make sure you guys do some things together. So, Doc, you can come on over, and we can start to demonstrate this in terms of how we do. Let's drop this guy a little bit here. Just going to come into the frame. So one of the things that you can do, one of the main things you can do with a towel is called a pull. So this is a back exercise. So remember before we did the exercises for the back, the rows. This is similar to a row. So again, just like a rowing movement, you squeeze the back. All right. So again, so this is going to work in counters. So she is going to pull back to squeeze her back. And then I'm going to squeeze mine, but she's going to give me some resistance. She's going to pull against me as I do it. But again, this is where communication is important. All right. So again, so she's going to give me some resistance. But again, you don't want to give so much to where you can pull. This isn't a tug of war, right? So you're not trying to pull the person towards you. It's give and go. Give. Okay, now you pull. Squeeze your back. And then reciprocate. Let go. And squeeze again. This is a back exercise. Squeeze the back. And then give it back. And again, squeeze. And return. Squeeze your back, squeeze your back, squeeze. All right. So again, so that's a push-pull. All right. So again, you got to learn your partner. You got to work as a team to do this. Again, you're not trying to yank her into you. I mean, that'd be kind of fun, but you don't want to yank her into you. But at the same time, you want to be able to, again, relate to the other person. They say, give me a little more pressure. Hey, ease up a little bit. I can't, So again, it's that relating to one another that you want to do certainly as you're doing it. All right. Another move that you can do is so grab these guys high. So grab up here at the top. Right. All right. So this here is a tricep exercise. So everybody knows about the tricep pull down. All right. Tricep pull down. So again, tricep pull down, and everybody knows about the bicep curl. These moves work, the bicep and the tricep, they work against one another. When you flex your tricep, your bicep straightens. When you flex your bicep, your tricep straightens. So again, so what you want to be able to do is work opposite one another. So she is up and I am down. We're going to reverse position. So I'm going to squeeze down with my triceps and she's going to resist me. Again, you need to be able to communicate. So down Now she's going to use her biceps and come back up. Squeeze up. Now I'm going to go down again with my triceps. She's resisting me. That's the tricep. Now she goes up again with her biceps. Then I come back down again with my triceps. And again, you want to squeeze the tricep. Let me get a little closer here. Over here. You want to squeeze the tricep. Now she's going to come up, squeeze her biceps. Now I'm going to squeeze my triceps. She's going to squeeze her biceps. Now what we can do is we can switch out. Now she takes the bottom. All right. So again, squeeze her triceps. I'm going to squeeze my biceps. Squeeze her triceps. Squeeze her bicep. I'm sorry, going to squeeze my biceps. So again, counter moves. Triceps. Biceps. So again, working in tandem with one another. All right. It's another move that you can do. You want to do a chest press. Now you can do either, this is a combination. You can do a combination. This could be a chest press and a back row at the same time.
Brother Bennett,
Yes, sir.
ask Mrs. Bennett to step out of the camera.
Step out of the camera.
Yeah.
Okay, you step out of
until
the
you start.
Okay.
Just
There you
until
go.
you start.
Okay, here we go. All right. All right, so you can come back.
Yeah, just until y'all start. Yeah.
All right. Gotcha. Okay. So now she's gonna grab the weights, grab the no.
Yeah, grab him by the neck.
Yes, yeah, you guys will love that, wouldn't you? Yeah, death on TV. You will love that. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press. All right, now what you might want to do is you want to get on your knees if you can.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
He
Lord.
was asking.
All right. Yeah, it's a little. Yeah, so you'll be pulling from the back. So
You are
Okay.
asking for too much.
I'm asking for too much. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm using my marital credits right now. I got 28 years worth. So, this is my dog, by the way. If you guys see, this is Dr. Strange. This is my dog. He obviously he always wants to be in. So I grab at the end.
Sorry.
Okay.
I fell.
Okay. All right. So again, if you want to do a press, all right, you want to press forward. She's going to resist me. Now you got to pull back. Now I'm going to press. She's going to pull back. And I'm going to press.
Mhm.
And she's going to pull back. All right. So again, so that's another push pull. That's another press pull. All right.
Salute to
Go.
Mrs. Bennett making you look good today, man. Salute to her, man. Appreciate
I'm
you.
trying.
Bennett. Good
I'm trying.
support.
Can I get up?
Yes, you can get up. Yes, you can get up.
Help up, brother. Help up.
We don't help people up here. What are you talking about here, man? We don't.
She gets
We
an
don't
extra special weekend this
We
weekend for helping
We
you.
don't help people up. I just want to do one more. I just want to do one more move, and we'll close out the show. All right. And this one's a little hard. Just a little bit more complicated. All right. This one is called. This is the twist. All right. So we don't. No, not the chubby checker twist. No, we're not doing that. All right. So this one's a little more, but this again, if you want to do a little core work. All right. So she's gonna go with me, but she's got to resist me. All right. She's gonna go with me, but she's got to resist me. So I'm gonna we're gonna start to the right. I'm gonna go to the right. You're gonna resist me, but you're gonna let me go though. Again, this isn't tug of war. All right. We're not trying to resist one another. All right. But again, it's gonna work your core. So we twisting movement. So when I go, she's gonna go with me, but she's gonna resist a bit. So come with me, but resist. Now you go the other way. You're resisting her. Twist all the way out to the side, all the way out to the side. Now give it back. And again, I'm resisting, but then pull it back. You twist the wrist. Don't rotate your hips. Keep your hips straight. Okay, rotate. Now you twist again. And back. And you go a few rounds with those. Thank you very much, Mrs. Bennett. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being a good sport.
It's the best show I done seen yet so far, man. This is the
All
best
right.
show I
So
done seen
this
on
is
any YouTube space, man. Salute to Mrs. Bennett, man. Salute to Mrs. Bennett. Salute, man. Good, great sport, man. Appreciate it, man. And
so again, everything that we did today, we didn't use any weights, no plates, no major gym equipment. We just used common household items around the house that everybody should have. Okay, bags, jugs of water, cans of peas, jars of jelly, whatever you got. All these things are at your disposal in your house. It doesn't matter, as I said earlier, what you use, what kind of weights that you use, how fancy it is. You can spend $10,000 on a home gym if you want to, or you can do, again, body weight exercise. Now, again, you're not going to become a bodybuilder doing this. All right. So again, I want to be very clear. Certain protocols, if you go for that level of specificity, if you're playing football, if you're doing certain things that require, squats, deadlifts, and heavy presses and things like that, these aren't substitute for those. Those are things that certainly an individual needs to be able to do. No question about it. But if you really want to, have some alternatives, when you can't get to the gym, you certainly can be the gym. You can be, take some things in your house and you can do some things that will certainly help you meet your fitness goals. So, so with that, and my phone here, it just gave me the low battery setting. I'm at 20% here. So this guy's about to go off the air. I'm going to then switch over here to the main computer in a second and close this guy out. But again, hopefully this was instructional for people. And certainly, based on your feedback, will they do more in the future? But you can certainly use this to work out by yourself. If you have a partner, you can work out with your partner, your wife. Again, it's just a couples activity you can do together just to spend more time together and whatnot. But again, use, while you have your health, and your fitness, again, use it and try to find ways that you can always find ways to stay fit and stay healthy in these times, especially as we get older. Yes, I got the knee pads on. Yes, I'm not as young as I used to be, but I still get down. I still try to, be in the best shape I can for my age, just as Coach does. So again, for a young person, for an older person, for someone who's just trying to get started, you already got what you need to get started and to get a fitness program going. The only thing you got to work on is your mind. So keep tuning in to the Next Gen Show, because we talk about the mind more so than we talk about physical training. Because without the mind, then the physical training won't necessarily happen. Everything starts up here. Get this right, and then everything else will take care of itself. But with that, Coach, any closing thoughts? Like I said, I'm going to close this guy out, and I'm going to go back over to my main before my phone runs out. But anything you want to say as we close out the show?
No, man, great show, great demonstrations, man. Ladies and gentlemen, just make sure that you're following proper techniques and also ensure that you have fluids close by. You don't want to overexert yourself and not have the proper fluids, whether it's water. I always recommend water, but you may want to do a pre-workout or a post-workout drink, but I always recommend water when exercising. But yeah, man, great show, man. Salute to Mrs. Bennett again, being a good sport. And man, listen, man, good, man. Let's close it out, man. Get some rest, man. You done made me tired watching you, man.
Hey, man, like I said, I love the fit lifestyle, and I'm just trying to help people be better at any level. Most of the guys I work with aren't even in the gym like that. They're computer techs and IT people and people who never left weights. So I try to be an example for the everyday person.
And, so certainly it's, it's been very rewarding. But with that, again, I want to thank you guys for joining us on this edition of Next Gen Training. Make sure you hit the like button as early as you leave the show. But until next time, take care. God bless. We will see you next time on Next Gen Training.